Well, it's a hot summer's day here. I must tell you on what time is it now? 3:30 about in the afternoon, on a Sunday afternoon, a sort of a relaxed time. I'm in the conservatory here, what we call the not the green room, but the garden room, and I'll take a photograph and explain to you because we've hanging gardens and some stuff here. Anyway, I tell you what today I want to talk about is Jewish life in Marbella. It was, believe it or not, about 1983, that I moved out with my very young family to Marbella to buy a nightclub by James Hunt. He was then the world Formula One champion, and his club Oscars was his discotheque here. Like a lot of sports stars in those days, George Best, they bought boutiques and clubs and all. They hadn't got an idea what they were doing. They didn't stick to what they knew they were doing in sport. I didn't actually buy Oscars. I leased it for a year with the subject. I'm glad I did, subject to be able to buy it. Anyway, that's what I'm really talking about. What I am talking about is Jewish life here. Whilst I came here in '83, sometime around that time, early '83, was it early '83? My father had passed away. I'm 83, '84. And I went, of course, I was in Dublin and we sat Shiva for a week. Um, I came back here and I didn't really know of a Jewish community back here. I wasn't really an active Jew in Dublin either. I did. Look, I went to Adelaide Shul was my family shul, the shul that my father, my grandfather went to Adelaide Shul. But I wanted to know more, and I joined the Liberals in Rathgar, are they? And I really enjoyed that because because part of the service is in English. I mean, it's all very well to stand in shul and blabbing away in Hebrew if you don't know what you're saying. You know, if you say the Shema, you can say Ashrei, you can say whatever you want, um, but the Amida. But do you know what you're saying? That's the thing. So the liberal shul, I felt uncomfortable with the organ playing on Shabbos and stuff like that. But I joined it and I enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it. Coming to Marbella after my father had died, I wanted to continue, maybe not to have morning service every morning, but to at least find a shul. And I found a shul by going to the main street of Marbella, going to a shoe shop there run by a family called Ohayon. Those Linden Shoes, I think it was called. And they told me that they run the shul in Marbella. They gave me the address and I went there. Interesting, the El Al Shul in Marbella is the first shul purposely built since the Inquisition in the early 1400s, a few years ago. And it was a Sephardic. Now, I've never heard of a Sephardic shul. I didn't know, I'm an Ashkenaz. I didn't know anything about the Sephardic, and it wasn't very common in Dublin, that's for sure. And it was very odd. It was almost like going to listen to Muslims, almost like going to listen to Muslims praying in a mosque. It's because of the way that they chanted. It wasn't so tuneful as an Ashkenaz. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't so tuneful as Adon Olam Hashem Malach, all that. Um, but there it's more of a chant. I remember when my late mother came over for one of the boys' bar mitzvahs, and you know where you ladies sit upstairs, and you always seem to be able to speak to us men downstairs. And I don't know I ever told you ladies, but we don't understand a word you're saying. We sort of nod to be polite. But my mother was sort of indicating she wanted to go outside, and I went outside and said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Is this a shul or a mosque?" So that you could wouldn't no, but she jest. But it sort of summed up the feeling of someone who's never been to a Sephardic service, certainly this side of the world, where most of the family, Ohayon, and those families all come from North Africa, Morocco, Casablanca, Tangiers, etc. So I started to go to the show there simply because I wanted to spend the year in mourning, if you know what I mean. It was hard, because we're not meant to go dancing or singing or whatever. But it was hard for me because I bought the club, so I had to be in my club every night. But it was a very hard time being away from my family. Bury your father and off you go. It's not as simple as you all know. But I did start to go to shul every Shabbos. At home with the family, we would bench the candles one day, and the kids would have their rachas and wine and what have you. I didn't want to run a from home. I didn't run um, how would you call it? It wasn't a kosher home, put it that way. But there was no trafing in the pork, prawn, shellfish, none of that stuff. But I did continue to put my tefillin on. Interesting. Still continue to put my tefillin on rather than go to the shul every morning. And then, of course, on Shabbos or Friday night, go to the shul, but more on Shabbos. And this really, gave you it was a very good Jewish life down here, a very good one. We had many functions and stuff celebrating the high holy days, the Pesachs, the Rosh Hashanah. In fact, because of the Sephardic shul, we eventually split on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and we brought in the chazan from different countries. I remember one came in from, where was it, Poland? I think he was from, the other one, etc. And so the Ashkenaz would have, like, we had a hall, and then we had the shul, and the hall was attached to the shul. So that's where we'd have our Ashkenaz services for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. But we had plenty of parties and stuff like that. And that was my Jewish life down here, attending the shul, putting tefillin on in the morning. I came across zero anti-Semitism here. Let's just move forward a little bit right now. I have been using my father's tefillin, and so it's quite old, as you know, but I've been using it. I still lay the tefillin every morning, and I notice it's maybe a time for a new one. So I asked someone I knew who goes to Israel a lot, next time you're in Israel, would you mind picking me up a tefillin? And they said, absolutely no problem. And they went into a shop in Tel Aviv, I think it was, and with FaceTime, they said, will this do? And I said, I thanked them. I said, absolutely, it's a tefillin. So they brought it back, and for me, and I have a bit of a big head. You're laughing now, but you know what I mean. And they said, if you want to make the strap bigger, do not undo the knot. It's quite a complicated thing. It looks quite simple, but it's quite complicated. Don't undo the knot and let a rabbi do it. And I said, well, which of the rabbi, they said, you've got a rabbi working, you've got the shul at the bottom of your road. And I said, what are you talking about? What shul? And it was the Chabad. Gee, I never knew that. I never knew there was a Chabad there. His name is Rabbi Mendy, the guy in charge. So I drove down to the bottom of, I said the bottom of my road, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes down to the main road. I'm on the Ronda Road, if you want, Ben Havis. And I drove down there. It was a Sunday, and I knocked at the door. Geez, I was no sooner to the door, but Mendy attacked me and started wrapping me up with the tefillin. I thought he was going to hang me. And then I noticed there was tons of kids I didn't know. No, I've been here 40 years. There was 2 or 3 classes, Cheder classes going on. Who are all these people? And then I saw parents arrive that I've never seen in my life, Jewish parents, quite a few from Israel, many of them French, of course, being here. I was amazed by all of this. Anyway, Rabbi Mendy was charismatic. He was young. He was only, I think, in his early 40s. He's got 7 children. But and his wife is fabulous. She was taking some of the Cheder classes. And anyway, the long and short of it is, he said, oh, I hate that. The long and short of it is, he said, I gave him the tefillin, and he said, he undid the knot and did it properly and put it on. Perfect fit. Perfect. I was really happy. And then he said to me, is this kosher? Now, I thought this was a joke. Is this kosher? What does that mean? Is it kosher? Is it from Israel? How much kosher do you want? He said, look, I'm going to Gibraltar tomorrow. I'm going to see the rabbi there. Do you mind if I get it checked? And I said, absolutely, have it checked. And he got in touch with me and said, Morris, I hate to tell you this, but it's a fake. And he had inside, rather than a parchment scroll or anything, there was a bit of paper. Yes, it was written on, and then there was sellotaping it together. And he said, it's just not kosher. That's that. I looked at, see, I'm a great believer. I looked at it and I thought, well, this is a message from the Almighty to keep my father's tefillin and keep wearing it, which I do. I still do to this day. But I fell totally in love with Chabad. I hadn't been to a service on this Sunday, but the following week I went to the service, and it was so different. It was so different. It was exciting. There was a lot of clapping. There was a lot of banging on the bimah and dancing around the bimah, and it was just, it just, it was all inspiring to me as a Jew. The Chabad just, there was not just Rabbi Mendy, but there was 2 or 3 young Chabad visiting. And they saying that many Chabad, speaking to them, they said that many Chabad come to Marbella just to watch Mendy at work if you want. And as we're leaving my first day, the first service, the Chabad service, there was about, and I was amazed because in our show in Marbella, in Real, down in the Sephardic shul in Marbella, we're lucky. We of course we get a minyan, but let's say 20 people, let's say more or less an average. But in the Chabad, there was probably 100 people there. I was amazed. And what amazed me more is I didn't know any of them. So as I was leaving, Rabbi Mendy came over to me and said, "Where are you going? Would you not stay for lunch?" And I thought, well, is he inviting me for lunch to his house? Anyway, I went into the adjoining hall, and there had to be another 50 or 60 people sitting there. So in all, maybe 150 people. And we sat down on different tables. We set out like a fiesta hall. And waiters start bringing like an hors d'oeuvres, choices of potato salad, eggs, avocados, sliced avocado, just all this bits on different plates for us to have after the brachas, of course, on the bread. And then we followed on the main course, and I remember the first one was fresh salmon, delicious, and salad and rice. And there was rice, it wasn't salad, sorry, there was rice. I'm just trying to think what we had. Plenty on the table. There was bottles of Coca-Cola, bottles of whiskey, bottles of wine. It was amazing. I turned around to the guy beside me. I don't have a clue who he is. I said, "How much is this?" "Oh no," he said, "that's given by Chabad every Friday, same thing, and every Saturday morning. It's subsidized. And contributions are made, and very big contributions in some cases." So I was totally sold, not just on the food, but on the whole attitude of Chabad, the whole attitude. And I believe in my heart and soul that Chabad are the saving grace of the Jews to come in the future, meaning they attract the young. Now, they are our future. I hate to tell you this. So any of you old grumpies that are going to shul and tzutzing, you want to watch the way the Chabad work. I'm sitting in shul and there's a kid running into the shul. He was dressed as an Israeli soldier. He probably was one of the rabbi's kids, probably about 5 years old. And it's just the love that they have for their children. It's none of this, be quiet, be quiet. There at times, of course, when you were saying the Amida, maybe Musaf, but or reading the Torah. But other, it's extraordinary. People go out and they get a cup of coffee and come back into shul and they have the coffee with them. It's so much relaxed. Some of the people are in now it's summer and shorts and t-shirts, etc., etc., etc. And when I went to Dublin and I met the Chabad rabbi in Dublin, I was taken by him. He had a shop there. He had a hall there. It was really, I don't know, that is the future. In my point of view, now maybe the older people, not moi, but maybe the older people look at it very different than I look at it. Maybe. But anyway, that's my view of being a Jew in Marbella. The anti-Semitism here. These boys, the Chabad boys, there's probably 4 of them here at the moment with the rabbi. Rabbi Mendy goes down to Port of Banús. I don't know if anyone knows Port of Banús. He'll go there with the chauffeur and he'll blow it walking through the port. And any Jews having dinner, they come rushing out to say hello. And he says, come to shul tomorrow or whatever day it's going to be. And I asked one of the young rabbis, and I talked about guys in their 20s. We were having lunch yesterday. I said to him, I mean, you're walking around in all the garb. Well, they got a yarmulke, they got payas, that their tzitzis are hanging out. And I said to them, do you come across any anti-Semitism? And one of them said, only once, someone shouted out, "Free Palestine." And I turned around, he said, he turned around and he said, "I'm very sorry, I didn't know Palestine was free. Can I have two?" And the other person who shouted it ran away. But that's the only time I have heard of anything in Marbella. Now, I'm not saying that it won't blow up tomorrow morning, but I would hate to be living in London now. And as far as Ireland's concerned, gee, the government of Ireland, I mean, being a Jew living in Ireland, the shame of being a Jew living in Ireland. I was a really proud Irish Jew living abroad, especially when it came to rugby. But God, people see me now, and the only thing I said, "Morris, how do you feel about being Irish now?" And my kids, and even one of my grandchildren that are here, and they say, "Grandpa, why do the Irish hate the Israelis?" And I tried to sort of say, well, it's not they hate the Israelis, they support the Palestinians, I suppose. Anyway, that is my story of being a Jew in Marbella.